Welcome to the Unnamed Sports Podcast. My name is Brian Hill. This is Rob.
Rob Fitzgerald. Nice
and I wasn't going to try and mess that up. So, we're here. We're just going to have a casual conversation just like we normally would when we're not on camera. We're just going to have a casual conversation about sports. And this week, obviously the whole topic is the NFL playoffs. They're huge right now. So, we're going to try and just go through each game and see how it goes and make our predictions along the way. We are not experts. We are casual sports fans.
Yep.
So don't expect an encyclopedia of knowledge here. We're just regular people. So
this is March Madness for NFL football this weekend right here.
So we get to start off with the Seahawks versus the 49ers.
Yes. Come to find out that they've played twice. Both times San Francisco has cleaned their clock a little bit.
Really, it's dominated.
You dominated.
Yeah.
San Francisco is the number one in takeaways in the league too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and after watching the way that Seattle's played recently, like I know in the beginning of the season, it was the return of Geno Smith. Yeah. This is Geno's time. He's coming. He's taking your name. He's taking your family. He's taking everything, and he's going to get a ring. It seemed like a lot in the beginning, and I don't necessarily think there's any chance that it would take a miracle.
I'm pretty impressed that they made the playoffs, to be honest with you.
Well, it was like that last game. There were so many different teams that could have made it,
true.
And they kind of just barely snuck their way in.
But they've had a pretty good season. I mean, he's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. There's always a little bit of a drop off as you get closer to the playoffs. It seems like your true colors are shining.
He's over 30 now, right? He's like 35.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's got many years. This is it. These last couple of years of his career, I imagine. Yeah. But it's when you look at the 49ers, they are just stacked.
Yeah.
When they lost Garoppolo, it was can they continue this? But then Purdy comes in and is playing better than both of the people who are ahead of him.
Garoppolo's a game manager, you know what I mean? And these guys are managing a Maserati with all of the people that they have.
Exactly.
Just don't screw it up, Jimmy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if this Purdy guy's in the same field, you know what I mean? He's just going to...
Well, it seems like he's doing more.
Hand it off to McCaffrey. Yeah.
He's really playing. I mean, they call him Mr. Irrelevant, obviously, because he's the last person picked in the draft. But it's this is why, and I was saying this earlier, this is how you know that, the people who do the scouting for the NFL, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They have no idea. That's how Tom Brady comes about, and it's just honestly, you'd have a good chance of just driving down the street and pointing at people, giving them a football, seeing if they could throw it fast or hard. Because it's hard to tell who's going to be great and who's not going to be.
Well, it's situation. It's how you mature. It's who you have around you. There's a lot of factors.
There's so many factors. Yeah.
Well, it's so many times number one quarterbacks go to the worst situation. Look at, what's his name for the Jaguars
Trevor
last
Lawrence.
year. Yeah. He was touted so highly, and then he goes into that. What a wasted year, you know what I mean?
You just have, and then you look at Mahomes, he's sitting on the bench behind Alex Smith, who's a really wonderful guy, a great teacher, and then he's got a great coach. So it does depend. But
it's not just them all by themselves.
No, it's not. And that's why, to me, this is kind of a no-brainer. Yeah. I would go with the 49ers, if the Seahawks win, it would be one of the biggest upsets in the game.
I agree. It's also it's the -10 on the line. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And nobody has
any confidence. It's in San Francisco. You know what I mean? Their defense is one of the best at football.
They are. To me, they are one of the favorites to win it all.
Yep. So I agree with you. I vote 49ers on that too.
All right, well, so let's move on.
Okay.
We're going to talk about, we were just talking about Trevor Lawrence, so we're talking about the Chargers versus the Jaguars. This is probably going to be one of the, on paper, it looks like one of the closest games.
Most competitive.
Yeah.
I agree. I like both teams. There's things I like about both teams. I love both quarterbacks, and they're both playing pretty well. Trevor Lawrence was not playing well. Then he was really playing well. It seems like he goes in spurts. Do you see that too? Sometimes he gets himself in trouble. But young quarterback. They have a pretty good defense. I like Doug Peterson a lot. He's the one that's changed the game, really, to them.
He just seems like he's that player's coach, and he kind of gets the best out of everybody.
Do you like the coach of the Chargers? What's his name?
Brandon Staley.
Yeah, do you like him?
I mean, I don't necessarily have an opinion of him one way or the other. It seems like he's a good coach.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things that right now he has a player who is going to be considered one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
Yes.
You know, he is considered that.
Yeah.
And so the question is, how long? Like, if he's not seeing success this year, you know, if they don't win this game, like, I know you're probably going to hold on to him, but like, those conversations are going to start. Like, do you need to get rid of this guy? I trust Doug Peterson more than I trust him.
I agree. He's one of those guys that goes for it on fourth down all the time. You know, these young coaches
This is the new
now,
generation.
It's the guy from Minnesota and I forget
the Miami guy.
and the guy from Cincinnati. The same thing. They're all young guys, and they think of fourth down as another down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's a different way of.
But the playoffs are always. That's where I think the playoffs always kind of like separate themselves from the regular season, because you go for it in that situation. You know, there's no second guessing.
Yes.
And in the regular season, I guess you can get away with it sometimes.
What do they call it? Analytics.
Yeah.
Gives you the right to say, okay, we're going for it on 4th and 4, and you're on 40. You know what I mean?
The analytics of football has changed the game, and it makes me almost want to have have a nerd around for every other situation in my life. You know, just what are the statistics on this, like that or that?
So it is a toss-up. I know it is. One of the ends out for San Diego's out. I know.
And then they also have, or who did they do? Is Mike Williams? Is he out? Mike Williams is out. Yeah.
But I'm still going to go with the Chargers. I'm gonna stick with them. I like them, but I'm okay with either team winning this game.
So it's tough, because I remember when Trevor Lawrence, when they were hyping him, you know, coming out of Clemson, they were hyping him so big.
Yeah.
And it was the greatest. He's the best thing that's ever coming out, and this, that, and the other thing. This is one of those games where we get to see like how these pressure situations can he handle it or not. And the same can be said for Herbert, because I think this is his first go round, and you know, he's been going up big against Mahomes, and like of the top 4 guys out there, when you look at Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, and Herbert is right there with them.
I agree.
So this will be the determining factor to kind of see who's on.
And this is a time for Trevor Lawrence to step up. Into that.
And he's got a Super Bowl winning coach.
I have seen him make a couple of throws over the last couple of weeks. Were pretty impressive. I mean, dots.
No, he can do it. But last week he was doing a lot of.
Yeah, you said that.
Overthrowing, and overthrowing is like the worst thing you can do.
Well, you know, Mahomes is just amazing to me. It's just touch, you know. And there's guys that can throw it a country mile, but they can't throw it.
Burrow's touch is like flawless, and
4 yards. You know, just but hitting the guy in stride. Not getting him killed. You know what I mean? Is so important.
So I will say this. You went with the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Jags, just because.
Sounds good.
The Peterson factor.
Yep.
I'm going to do that.
Okay, sounds good.
So now we're going to move on to Dolphins versus Bills.
Yeah.
And this is going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
I know. I don't know what the weather is in Buffalo, but it's not 80. You know what I mean? And
I will say this, though. The thing about the NFL is that there's so many times when, like, the experts, the pundits out there, they're like, this is going to be a dominating game. The Bills are going to go out. And right now, it seems like everything's pushing towards the Bills. They had DeMar Hamlin coming back from the dead. Like, so they have, like, that spirit, that energy. But they might have gotten it all out last week.
Yeah.
And so as much as I would say that this is going to be, they're going to get steamrolled, which I could easily say, I would not be surprised if they stick around, if the Dolphins stick around.
I hate to say this, but without 2 kickoffs for touchdowns, they would have lost that game.
Exactly. So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we'll see.
I don't know.
And as good as Josh Allen is, like, I don't know. There's something. Sometimes he's not always as consistent as you'd want him to be.
And those 2 wideouts for the Dolphins, if they just get the ball to them in space, there's nobody that can touch them.
Tyreek.
And I don't think that Buffalo's defensive backfield is in great shape. I know that there's one of their safeties is out for the year, and then there's the guy that got, had the problem there. He's not playing.
Yeah, and they lost Vaughn.
They're in there. Some of them are third stringers, so.
Yeah, so it might not be such a blowout, but if you had to ask me to put some money on it, I'd go with the Bills.
Me too. I'd go with the Bills also.
It's a really quick one.
Yep.
This next one, this is a good game.
So
Giants versus Vikings.
Give me your Giants. What you think?
I think that the Giants are a team that are led by what looks like Brian Daboll seems like a small little. He's not small.
No, he's a big guy.
He's a big guy, but he just seems like a wrecking ball. He's on the sideline. He's just kind of rumbling around and like yelling at people, getting fired up. But his players love him.
Yeah.
I think Daniel Jones is like, he's so unpredictable.
But he's 5 times better now than he was.
Oh yeah, and his style of play is like kind of like a playoff style. Like,
yeah,
they're gonna hold on to the ball. They're gonna try and burn the clock. They're gonna use Saquon and his gigantic thighs to just kind of run through the Vikings, and the Vikings get themselves in trouble. You know,
they
like
every game.
No matter who they play, it's gonna be something spectacular is gonna happen, whether it's for them or the other team.
They're always. Minnesota always seems to be lucky at the end of the game, you know.
And that luck is,
and it usually does run out in the playoffs.
And the Giants have a history in the playoffs.
Yeah.
When they get there, they are a tough team to beat. They never look like it, you know.
Yeah.
Like the days of Eli, you're like, Eli, what's he gonna do? But somehow,
so I looked it up. The Giants' leading receiver is Slayton, Darius Slayton.
Okay.
I don't even.
Yeah, they have a bunch. I
don't know him. I don't know how many touchdowns he had, but he led their team in receiving yards. Minnesota's got a lot of weapons. They got Jefferson, they got Dalvin Cook, the running back, and then Hawkinson, the tight end that they got from the Lions. They have a lot of weapons. This could go either way. Who gets a handle, and then let me ask you a question because I haven't watched enough Giants games. Have they come from behind?
Yes.
Or are they just a steamroll?
No, they've had definitely, and they're good in close games.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that if they're around, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble because they, like what Jones does is like he can throw those short passes, but he does have a cannon. But he's also with the read option.
He can run.
He can run, and he's like freakishly fast for like you wouldn't think it. And so when they're around, and their defense is formidable. So it's going to be a tight affair. My whole thing is Kirk Cousins has been, you know, he had his whole time out in Washington where he was just, you know, every year is a franchise tag. But he hasn't really ever gotten over that hump.
Yeah.
You know, it's the hump of, oh yeah, you're good in the regular season, sometimes even great, but what are you going to do in the playoffs? Well, this is the year
because what was his name? The coach that was there, he was a defensive guy.
Oh yeah, the last
for years and years.
Yeah.
They canned him this year, and they brought in the young guy who's a little bit more of an offensive coach, and that's. I don't know if Jefferson went off as big last year as he did this year, but their offense is more potent. It definitely is more potent. I think their defense is not nearly as good. This really could go either way in my mind. But I will stick with the Giants. I'll pick the Giants.
I will say as a New Yorker, I just have like, there's a part of me that's like, they're gonna find a way to mess it up somehow. You know, they're just gonna. I think that's what you always do as a fan. You're just like, they're just gonna find a way, and some calamity was gonna happen. And me talking about Kirk Cousins not being able to perform in the playoffs, somehow he's gonna go off, and then people are gonna be like, Kirk Cousins has arrived, but
it's always the way.
It's tough. I'm going to say that the Vikings will win. But I want the Giants to win badly.
This is another time when two quarterbacks now have to prove their mettle under conditions, right?
For sure.
And Kirk Cousins has had a lot of chances, and he's never come through.
No, he's never come through.
But this is Daniel Jones's time to show whether he can make that next step. Right?
And he is such an interesting quarterback. You don't know what you're getting.
I always saw him run for his life.
Yeah. And that one time when he ran and he fell down. Yeah. And he had the open field and he just collapsed.
I remember that. But now he's running sort of like Josh Allen. I mean, you know what I mean? And that's Daboll.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the wrecking ball mentality.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Okay.
All right, so now we're going to move on to another interesting match. This is the Ravens versus the Bengals. And, I mean, the Ravens are dealing with some stuff right now. They have the whole thing with Lamar Jackson. He's injured. He sent out a note this morning explaining the nature of his injury and exactly what he's got going on, which is something that you never see. You never see a player just openly being like, describing essentially what the doctor is telling them that they have.
Well, that's because he had that big contract on the table and he decided he didn't want it, and now he's hurt. You know, that's
I
didn't know that.
He just sent it out like I think last night or this morning. And the thing is, like with his style of play, you're gonna get injured. There's no way. He also seems like he's built like a rail. He's just this skinny little man that if he gets hit and the way he runs, it's spectacular, but you know, it doesn't last forever.
He's a point guard.
Yeah, it doesn't last forever. It can't.
I know.
And so, like, for me, this game is like the Ravens. The story with the Ravens has been about this. It hasn't been about the game at all.
Yeah.
And so the Bengals just seem like they are going to just run through them.
You know, the Patriots had a lot of tough games against the Ravens. Sometimes they won, sometimes they lost. I just don't like the Ravens. It's one of those teams that it's kind of like I'm happy when they lose, even if we lose.
Yeah.
As long as
they lose, I'm happy.
But I like Lamar Jackson. Do you see what I mean? That's the funny thing. I do.
I mean, if they don't want him, you know, send him to the Jets.
Yeah. No, that would be great. And I really like the Bengals. I like Joe Burrows a lot. I like their coach. I like the way that they play. They kind of rose up out of the ashes. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati hasn't done anything in forever and ever and ever.
Yeah. And they seem to hit their stride at the right time.
I agree. And it's at Cincinnati, so I'm going with Cincinnati on this.
I mean, for me, when I look at the Bengals and in all the teams that are in the AFC, it just seems like they are the most complete team and the biggest threat to the Chiefs, mainly because the Chiefs have never beat them. Mahomes has never beat Burrow.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He gets way out in front, and then it's like they kind of shut the car down. When it's like they need to put it into next gear, and just I think dealing with Jamar Chase seems like it's an impossible task.
Yeah.
And doing that with T. Higgins it is equally as tough.
Yeah.
And Burrow just seems so cool. They call him Joe Cool.
I know.
He just seems like a chill dude.
The only thing is, there's one part of the game that I'm a little worried about. Last year, they won 2 or 3 games, Cincinnati, to get into the Super Bowl by their kicker.
Yes.
And he has not played that well this year.
He's not nearly as confident as he was.
And on the other side is Justin Tucker, who you can try to hit from 65. You know what I mean? Especially if it's a nice day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it comes down to that,
I
don't know whether the Ravens have the quarterback to get them in field goal range.
Yeah.
But if they do.
But that will be, because, I mean, that's the thing. The Bengals defense has been playing well.
Yeah.
And they play well enough. Like, they play where it's like, just give Joe and the guys a chance.
Their front seven is pretty formidable.
My thing is, it's all dependent. I mean, this game is obviously, I'm going to go with the Bengals just because of all the stuff that the Ravens are dealing with.
Yeah.
But just like with the Bills and Miami, like, everyone on the field, all those other guys are professionals as well. And at any moment, something can go down in a football game.
Yes.
And if Joe Burrow is getting knocked down
knocked out in the first quarter.
You know, because there was last season, he almost got knocked out one of those games, and it was like, he got back up. Like, it didn't look like he was going to get back up.
Well, he led the league in getting sacked last year, but this year he's done really well with that.
Yeah, well, they need they need to protect him, but I really think that this is going to be hands down Bengals.
Me too.
Okay.
So now we come to the big one.
Now we come down to the Cowboys versus the Buccaneers, and
Monday Night Football.
I'm saying this to the entire Massachusetts and New England community. If Tom Brady wins this game, it's a problem, and I have a problem with it. And it's enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
You know, you've already proven everything. That you don't want to be around your family, that you prefer to be around football. I get it. But just go away. And it seems like he's going to win. Just because. It doesn't matter. All the junk that he had going on in the beginning of the season, even in the middle of the season, the late of the season. Now we're in Tom Brady territory.
I don't even know who he has with him except for Mike Evans. Fournette's okay, always okay, especially in big games. I don't know. He's going to throw it to people that you don't even know.
And he's doing his quick passing.
Yeah.
Is a problem. And the Cowboys, their defense is great. They are really good. But when you can, in Micah Parsons, he can get there. He is a game changer, a disruptor.
Yeah.
I do think that.
I think that they're going to have to really. How do you stop a short passing attack? What do? You have to bring everybody up, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have Evans.
Yeah.
And then he just heaves it out there,
but maybe the heaves aren't as heavy as they used to be.
That's really true. And we really, in my opinion, I have no idea what I'm going to get from Tampa's defense. They haven't done enough to have a winning record this year. So
exactly.
It could be anything. I guess the question really is Dak.
The question is the Cowboys.
Are they going to come out and just take it?
Well, because the Cowboys are great at one thing in particular. It's generating buzz about the team.
Yeah.
And then thoroughly disappointing their fan base. And that's what they do consistently. And so in the beginning of the season, Dallas looks unstoppable. They looked unstoppable. They were firing on all cylinders. Dak goes out. They're still firing on all cylinders. Their quarterback is making it happen. He's not he's game managing.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, when Dak comes back, they're going to be game changers and
put the pedal to the metal and beat everybody.
But it's not been that way. And a lot of I know people are going off about Dak and his interceptions, but a lot of his interceptions weren't necessarily his fault. He's hit somebody in the hands or in the chest.
Yeah.
And the ball bounces off of him and goes somewhere else.
It's not all his fault. It's almost like he tries to do. He's that person that tries to do too much sometimes.
Yeah.
But I can't blame him for that. It just feels. It's a mental thing. They can't get over the hump.
Well, I think it's because, first and foremost, everybody calls them America's team, which is nonsense.
Yeah.
It's no.
They grabbed that a long time ago, and they're not letting go.
And they're never going to let go of it. But that's probably one of the reasons why they'll never get back to the mountaintop because they're full of themselves. But my thing is Dallas is always expecting so much.
Yeah.
The fan base is always expecting so much, and this is a year where they should be really, really good, and this is going to be one of those defining moments in Dak's career. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's when Tony Romo came on, he came on and he was firing at all cylinders, killing it, and they're like, this is the next coming of whoever, And the same thing kind of happened.
Was it Green Bay that put away Dallas all the time back then?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is now you're seeing Dak at a point where Tony Romo was.
Yeah.
Where it's you have all these guys, you have everything. It seems like you're in a position where you should make that next step.
Yeah.
And he needs to because they have a good running game, even though they didn't play well last week. And
they do.
And that's it's so interesting. It's we're coming in here and it's all fresh.
They're in a predicament because they would probably like to shorten the game just by running the ball and then do play action and just hit Lamb over the middle or their tight end and go first downs down the field. But unless they're far enough ahead of Brady, they're going to be worried the whole time. Do you know what I mean? He makes them. That's in the back of their head.
He's in everyone's head. He's in my head. He's relentless.
So that's the dilemma. I think this is, and I don't really want to put pressure on him in that way, but this is a big game for the Cowboys to make the next step, to try to beat Philadelphia.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
If they go out, if they go out in this round, I know everyone is. What was the last 2 seasons? They've won 13 games. They've done well these last 2 seasons. It's just they don't seem to be a playoff team, and everyone is going to be ready to fire Mike McCarthy, even though he has 2 13-win seasons.
I know.
It's I don't know if you're gonna. It's not always going to be his fault when they don't make these big wins, but this is a win that they should.
Teams get to the mountaintop,
and
then when they don't get over, they want to bust it down to nothing
exactly.
and start again.
Yeah.
But that's really hard to do.
No, and you're not going to be able to do that.
And this is a Patriots fan that we've had plenty of wins. There's 27 teams that don't win every single year.
Yeah.
There's teams that have never even come close to winning.
Yeah.
So if you
don't
win every year, It's whether your team is competitive and whether they're growing.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think the pressure on Dallas is almost too much.
So you think that they will succumb to the pressure?
I hate to say it, but I do. I'm going to say that.
I will say that it's always. I mean, is this in? It's at Buccaneers too. Okay, so
No. It's at the Cowboys.
Cowboys. I thought it was Cowboys
at Buccaneers because they won the division.
Yeah.
Even though they were 8-9.
So you have a 12-5 team. You have a 12-5 team going to an 8-9 team.
Yeah.
And so that a part of me though thinks that might be a pressure relief.
It might be.
Because maybe not playing under Jerry Jones. I mean, he'll obviously be there, but he's like the Eye of Sauron. He's like, it's easier to just go to another place where you have to deal with your fan base and all that.
I agree with that. And you never know what the weather's going to be like, and maybe it's conducive to running.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? If it's a rainy day,
I think this game is going to be surprisingly more about the Cowboys' defense. And if they can just stymie Tom Brady, like, they have a very good chance. So I honestly think that this is going to be a Cowboys win, and it's going to be like kind of a big moment for Brady too, because this is going to be one of the worst years of this guy's life if he goes out in the first round. If he goes out in the first round of the playoffs, which is kind of just terrible, and he's not with his wife anymore, he might have some bombshell somewhere else, I'm sure. But
they say he already has a girlfriend.
Of course, none of these people love each other.
I mean, this hasn't been a good year. He's 8-9. They had to perform miracles to get to 8-9 and get in the playoffs. There's plenty of teams that are even better than them, but their division was historically bad.
Yeah.
So that they even got in. I mean, he can't be proud of what he's got.
But like we say, it's 0-0 at this point going in.
Yeah.
So he got there, but I really I've told myself over the years, don't do it, Brian. Don't bet against him. But I have to. Because I will. If I succumb, that means I'm just another.
Well, then we're on opposite sides of it, so that's good.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Okay, and I'll go with the Buccaneers.
And I think the Cowboys are going to. I'm going to go I'm going to extend it a little bit further, and I'm going to say the Cowboys. And I've done this before, but I think that I want to say that they're going to handle them, but that's probably a step too far.
I think they very well could. I think that they very well could, and I didn't really think about that it's in Tampa, but that is, I think, a good thing for Dallas.
Yeah,
I really do.
For sure, because that fan base is like, just imagine all those eyes, all those sad, like those angry Dallas Cowboy fans, just maniacs.
All over America.
They're everywhere. But at least you're not in like the Mecca of it, They're not.
It's true. It's true. Jerry's Mecca.
Yeah, that he built incorrectly. He built it so that the sun is like in your face.
Just before we stop, it's really pretty amazing. You're talking about a team getting to the top and then coming over. It's amazing how Philadelphia has just.
Yeah, but I think that also might be coming to an end.
Oh, do you?
Because Jalen Hurts is injured. I mean, he played in that game, but he's injured.
Yeah.
And they have not looked the same.
Who's the backup?
Oh, it's Minshew.
Oh yeah, from the Jaguars.
Yeah, but he's one of the another one of these backups who they have their moments, but then inevitably they throw an interception or have a fumble.
He rides bucket Broncos Monday through Friday. He plays football on Saturdays and Sundays. I know that.
Yeah, he should be doing more football, I think.
Yeah.
But I like, just to talk about those teams really quickly. I think when you look at the Eagles, it's going to be tough if they have not looked the same in the second half of the season. And Hurts is hurt.
Yeah.
And that's going to be dependent. Because if all you're really focusing on is him running, you can stop that.
Yeah.
The threat is that you don't know.
The guy named, his name is Brown. He's from the Titans. The Titans traded him away.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anything that was near him, he caught.
Exactly. So, I mean, we'll see. Because Hurts is, the thing is, are they going to run him as much? Probably not.
Probably not.
So it's going to be, the dimensions of their team is going to be kind of.
Another different coach, a coach that will go for a fourth down. That guy.
Yeah.
He's a little bit different too.
A lot of them are now.
Yeah.
It's fun. All right, well, I think that's going to do it. We're going to come back next week with the next round of the playoffs.
Maybe we'll quickly review the games and then.
Yeah, we'll go over the games,
A little
talk
bit.
about how I was right all the time. And yeah, so that's it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. See ya.
Take care.